done, that we're actually doing better than they are for the Bible. Because we're making the Bible attractive to more people across the board than they can or are doing. And we're not subjecting it to ridicule, allowing it to be subjected to ridicule. If something in it is got some problems, we say it. And if it doesn't, we say that too. Do you follow me? So I think that even those people mean well, and I know they all mean well. They're not bad people. They really do mean well. They're looking for something solid in their life. I understand that. Life is a difficult thing, and people need to build it on something. So they're looking for something solid in their life upon which to, build something concrete in a very harsh and often incomprehensible and insubstantial universe. So I understand what they're looking for, but they can't put it on a book totally that was written maybe 2,000, well, more than that, 3,000 years ago, 2,500 years ago, some of it 3,000 years maybe in other parts of it. And to do that maybe isn't fair to the book. Isn't fair to the book. So we're going to do the creation story today. It's the first book of Genesis. Now I think actually it's pretty good science for the time, and it looks pretty evolutionary to me. There's a first day and a second day and a third day, and things get more and more complex. I mean, it looks like the Darwinianism of that time. And yet the people who use the Old Testament creation story say, oh, it's against Darwin, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't think it's against anything or for anything. I think it's the highest kind of knowledge that they were able to put down on paper at that time, given the physical evidence that was available to them. And they did a very elegant job. You know what they did that I think people are objecting to in the modern world, which I think is beautiful what they did in some ways? They built a moral quality into the universe, which of course, that's what people object to about Darwinism. There's no morality seemingly in it, which I understand that is an objection. But morality is a human need. My cat doesn't need morality, although he's a very moral creature. I mean, he comes in at night, he meows at me, he wants to be treated fairly and everything. Yet if he sees a mouse or a bird, he goes and kills it immediately. He doesn't even think twice about it. So he's pretty moral in some areas, but he's pretty vicious in others when it suits him. I mean, he'll kill at the drop of a hat. He won't kill his own kind too much unless he's fighting over a woman or something. But normally they treat their own kind pretty well. And certainly if it's a male cat, will not mistreat a female. A male dog will never mistreat a female dog, except maybe they'll try to copulate too much with it. But other than that, he's not going to kill it or fight it or something like that. So he's moral in that context. But the minute he sees some other species of dog or creature or another male or something, well, that's open season, you see. So, okay, morality is a pretty human need. And I think it has a lot to do with, I'm giving a sermon here, but I think it's important, with aesthetics. Something Aristotle treated. Aesthetics is the science of art and beauty, how you evaluate art and beauty. You see, certain things we think are beautiful. Certain things are attractive to us on the level of beauty and art. And I think morality is one of those things. I don't choose to live in a low manner, put it that way. I choose, if I can, to live in the highest manner possible. That's an aesthetic choice. I could be a junkie, a druggie, or any other thing I wanted to do. I could be a murderer. I could do all kinds of things if I wanted to, obviously. But I choose not to. Not because God told me that I shouldn't or should, because to me, it isn't intellectually pleasing. It doesn't recommend itself to my aesthetic sense. Hurting others doesn't recommend itself to me in an aesthetic way. And if I can avoid hurting others, I will avoid hurting others, even my students. So to my mind, it's I choose not to. It's a choice that I personally make. And I want to, in my life, since I only get one shot at it, I want to make that life as high as I possibly can make it, aesthetically speaking. I don't want to live a crummy life. And that's an aesthetic choice, you see. So, you know, I think these things work on the level of aesthetics. No, you don't have to agree with what I think. That's your business. But I'm saying that from my point of view, this is an aesthetic decision that one makes. I think if you saw that movie, Lawrence of Arabia, and Lawrence is trying to, if you remember that movie, trying to convince the Bedouin chieftain to come and raid Aqaba with him. This guy's name is Auda. He's a ferocious Bedouin chief. And I forget how Auda puts it, but he says to Lawrence finally, I don't go because of the money you give me or anything like that. I go because it pleases me to go. It pleases me to go. I'm pleased, you know, it recommends itself to me. That's why I accept your proposition, not for all the other blandishments that you, but it pleases Auda to do this. And I think that's a pretty impressive way to see things. All right. Let's take a look for 5 or more minutes before we take. We'll go till 1/4 We'll have a break, and we'll come back at about. Well, we'll go to about 10 after, and maybe we'll come back about 8:25, and maybe go to 9:20. Okay, something like that. All right. Maybe 9:30. I forget what. Maybe 9:30. We should. We'll see how it goes. Maybe 9:30. We should go. Let's see. Let's look at the first book of the Bible. Okay. I would want to say about the who wrote the Bible. What should you be reading now? Just keep up with me. There's not a lot of work to do at the beginning. We speed up towards the middle of the class. Keep up with me. Read the stuff yourself, and read that Who Wrote the Bible book before the midterm. I'm not following that book, but that book does tell you a lot about the source lines of the Bible. So read that Who Wrote the Bible book. And if you have another textbook that you want to look at that you think will help you in what you're reading here, read that too. But I don't have a particular, obviously, this book by Sarna, we're reading Genesis, you can read that through. But I don't have a particular assignment in it except to look at it if it helps you. If it doesn't help you, give it back to the bookstore. I'm not testing you out of that book. Okay? Those books are only if you feel that they help your understanding. So, buy it, look at it, take a look, think it's guy's smart, read it. I mean, I can't read him because I already know everything he's writing about, just Bob bores me, you know, but if you don't know it, then it's fine. I can't read it, but someone else might be able to. Yeah?
Just a quick question.
Sure.
Last week, Ron said he was something about you're going to, out of the 4 redactions in the Old Testament, the JDP,